What is up, DS3 TV? Yeah, so we are here to watch Should Dinosaurs Be Unbanned? Featuring Casually Explained. So this is a mashup with Casually Explained. Well, it's a collab video with Casually Explained and Tearzu. So this is going to be amazing. Yeah, I've been getting comments from you guys. I got a comment from you guys that I should watch more of the dinosaur Tearzu videos. So this is one of the dinosaur Tearzu videos. So I decided let's watch it, and yeah, let's get into it. Also subscribe to the channel. Want to get 1,000 subscribers by Valentine's Day. Thank you guys for 107 subscribers at the time of making this video. Yeah, so let's get into the video and let's see. I mean, hey, you can tell me in the comment section too if you think that they should be unbanned. I don't know. I feel like that they kind of should. They maybe should not, because I feel like honestly they're kind of too OP. But tell me in the comment section what is your thoughts on this. And also, you know what else you can do in the comment section? You can also tell me what videos you want me to watch, because I will watch those videos. So yeah, that's another thing. And let's get into the video, since I just told you that, and play.
This episode was sponsored by Skillshare.
Okay. Oh.
One of the most controversial balance updates the devs have ever introduced was patch 1.3.1, the update which banned and nerfed the vast majority of dinosaurs, marine reptiles, and pterosaurs. And so it should come as no surprise that one of the requests that the devs get the most is to reintroduce dinosaurs back into the game. The devs have never unbanned any classes before.
Human data miners did manage to desync Pyrean Ibex using the skill cloning, but it took only 7 minutes for the devs to permaban this experimental player as well. Oh wow, I didn't know that actually happened.
But what would the meta look like if the devs actually obliged and allowed players to spawn as dinosaurs again? Well, to answer that question, we first need to understand why dinosaurs were banned in the first place. And believe it or not, I was actually given the opportunity to ask one of the devs this very question. So a lot of people have been wondering, why were the dinosaurs banned?
I get this question a lot because the dinosaur class was one of the most popular in the history of the game, and we definitely got a lot of pushback when you released the first extinction pack. But to be honest, the meta was just getting stale, especially with players opting to play larger and larger land carnivores like the T-Rex. Like one balance update, we tried to buff herbivores by putting 2 additional horns on the Uniceratops, but of course the T-Rex players just spec'd into higher attack. Then one time we even tried to nerf the rage ability of the T-Rex players by increasing the frequency they want to engage in sexual behavior, but then players thought it would be funny to shorten their arms. So eventually we figured it's not worth dealing with all these complications and we should just go for the hard reset, lower the oxygen levels to limit the size wars of different classes, and encourage more nuanced skill trees. And while we are seriously considering a dinosaur remaster due to popular demand, to be honest, even now, if you look at most character models, they're just shrunk down, reskinned dinosaurs we put fur on so you couldn't tell.
Yeah,
Thanks so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to comment on this matter. Okay, so what would it look like if dinosaurs were unbanned? First, let's talk about dinosaurs in general. The dinosaur build's main advantage is its massive size. At fully grown, the only things that could take it down were other giant dinosaurs and potentially pack hunting builds. While size is an advantage on defense, it can be a challenge for overall survivability. Dinosaurs require a massive amount of food, potentially more than the current game.
And that's the problem that I see. Like it wouldn't be enough food for anyone else on Earth to actually like survive, because like a lot of stuff would just die off if it's not enough food. So they would probably die off, or one of like another animal would die off because you brought back a dinosaur.
Game could provide. And so if the devs were to unban dinosaurs, they'd likely also need to buff the spawn rates of pretty much everything. Your average dinosaur build also tends to be pretty modest when it comes to speed and intelligence, having speed comparable to an elephant and intelligence comparable to crocodiles. This means that most of the current top tiers will outspeed and outsmart them on a regular basis. But this isn't the case for all dinosaurs, so let's get into the specifics now. Let's start with the herbivores. So I don't think hadrosaurs would be very viable at all, seeing as they have no good defensive abilities to protect themselves with. Their best trait is that they can communicate effectively and keep watch over each other. But the best hunters today rely on stealth, a strategy specifically meant to get around this problem. Hadrosaurs would be great at spotting tall carnivore players from far away, but not stealthy builds that stay low to the ground and move through the bush. Now you might be thinking, oh, that's no problem, the herbivores could just outrun them. But large herbivores had much lower mobility than today's top predator builds. They'd be most comparable to an elephant, like I said before. But where elephants lack in mobility, they make up for with intelligence. You can't say the same for dinosaurs. But not all herbivores would be in such a bad position. Hadrosaurs lack any form of weaponry, but other herbivores are much more well-armed. Triceratops is perhaps the most well-known armed herbivore, and it's easy to see why. At full speed, a Triceratops could one-shot even the tankiest of opponents. But with that said, the carnivore player base has gotten much better at dealing with front-facing weapons like horns and tusks. So Triceratops may find itself struggling to fend off attacks that come from behind or come from multiple angles. Getting behind an opponent has become a staple trick of every carnivore's playbook, especially for canine and feline builds. Sauropods were at an interesting place in the meta back during the Mesozoic, and would definitely still be if they were brought back today. Their late game stats were simply impossible to beat one-on-one. No other land build has ever achieved even close to the same base stat total. Even the top predators of the time barely stood a chance, even in teams. But they only reach this potential in the late game and have relatively few defensive options during early and mid game, aside from just relying on high-level teammates. This means that their teammates need to be able to stop an attack before it's too late. Because of their extreme height, predators would just about never be able to sneak up on a sauropod clan in an open field. But approaching using stealth isn't the only way to catch a vigilant opponent off guard. Hiding in trees is another option, one that's employed by some of the most powerful builds of present day. Big cats tend to target the...
But I feel like that one will be seen as like more of like a giraffe in like this day and age, because you don't see them getting really killed by like it takes a lot of lions to kill down one like giraffe. So I'm thinking like it would honestly not be as bad for that build to come back, because I mean they could, like if they come back as a group, they actually could be a viable option.
The neck of their opponents. And well, it would be pretty hard to miss. Even the top tier jaguar probably couldn't one-shot a high-level sauropod, but all of the arboreal big cats would definitely be a problem for juveniles. Potentially so problematic that not enough of them would be able to reach the late game to defend the lower level players. It's hard to say. Overall, they could be completely viable or completely helpless. Not much in between. In my opinion, the herbivore builds best suited to survive in the current meta would be the ones with tail weapons, specifically stegosaurs and ankylosaurs. As previously mentioned, the top predator builds tend to attack from behind, avoiding a face-to-face confrontation, and staying out of range of being hit by counterattacks with horns, tusks, and bites. This strategy works great against the tanky herbivore classes of present day, but an attack from behind would be an awful idea against a build with a club or thagomizer. In addition, the armor on their back would make it much harder for assassin builds like big cats to land their critical strikes. Of all of the herbivores, I find these to be the most likely to become top tier if they were unbanned. Now onto the carnivores. So this might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't think large tyrannosaurs would fare well in the current meta. Tyrannosaurs are min-maxed to optimize for damage, which was great when their goal was to be able to bring down tanks with HP levels as high as the dinosaurs. The only build of present day that this would be important to have against would be the elephant. And while that is important, having only one good matchup is not a top tier strategy. All elephant players would need to do to counter this specific tactic is spec into slightly higher mobility, since the T-Rex's top speed is extremely low compared to builds of present day. Smaller tyrannosaurs like Albertosaurus and Daspletosaurus would still be viable though, since they haven't sacrificed as much mobility as the T-Rex has. Mobility really is the name of the game for predators right now. And it's the reason that I'd put dromaeosaurs like Velociraptor and Deinonychus as the best contenders for being too OP for the current meta. And not just because of their excellent mobility, but also because they really wouldn't need to adjust much from their playstyle in the Cretaceous. Raptor builds in the Cretaceous preyed mostly on small animals like prehistoric mammals, and occasionally banded together to take down midweight and heavyweight builds. This niche is still very much available today, and raptors would have little trouble in combat versus builds like possums, raccoons, and birds. This is the same role that the fox and coyote occupy right now. So the question then becomes, could raptors compete with them? In one-on-one combat, I do think raptors have the edge. While raptors do have lower HP than any canine, they also have much more burst damage potential. Canines use the persistence hunting strategy and need to land several attacks in order to bring down a target. Raptors, on the other hand, deal much higher damage because of their sickle claw that can potentially one-shot an enemy. Both employ team strats, and both have high mobility and intelligence. So all else being equal, the ability for raptors to outdamage the canines would, in my opinion, win them the day. So overall, if individual dinosaur builds were unbanned, the Stegosaurs, Ankylosaurs, and Dromaeosaurs would most likely be top tier, while the others might end up struggling. Dinosaur players would need to learn a lot of new abilities to be able to contend with how advanced the meta is, especially when it comes to how OP humans are. Luckily, if you're looking to quickly and easily learn new skills, Skillshare has you covered. Skillshare is an online learning community with over 20,000 classes in design, business, technology.
That was a good segue into another, to an ad, but yeah, I still would, I definitely would say that Velociraptors are OP because of the fact they kind of would be OP, but also they would live in this, they will be able to do good in this environment. So yeah, talk to you guys in the next video. Yeah, peace. Also, subscribe to the channel when I get 1,000 subscribers by my birthday, by Valentine's Day, and talk to you guys in the next video, and peace.